4 of Sunday NFL Countdown. I'm Sam Ponder with Matt Hasselbeck, Teddy Bruschi, Randy Moss, and Rex Ryan. Guys, it's been a really exciting start to the NFL. And if you're wondering why, almost 60% of the games have been decided by one score or less. So for all the complaints about rule changes and maybe pace of play, the games have been very exciting down the stretch. And we've got a lot to get to today. We did want to mention there was some news about our friend Rex Ryan here this week after Rex's comments saying Baker Mayfield was overrated. Baker responded by saying he only cares about what people say when they're wearing the orange and brown.
You got the orange and brown.
We'll be more on that later in the show. I can promise you that. For now, let's go upstairs to Adam and Mort for their top stories of the day.
Well, thanks very much, Sam. We're not wearing orange and brown, but we are anxious to hear what Rex is going to say. But first, some headlines before we get to Rex. And the Patriots will have their star wide receiver, Julian Edelman, who's listed as questionable for today's game against Buffalo due to a chest injury. He's going to give it a go. He's going to go as long and as hard as he can in typical Edelman fashion. He will be out there. The Patriots will need him in what promises to be a raucous environment with two 3-0 teams squaring off in Buffalo. Julian Edelman will be a go today for the New England Patriots.
Not so certain is Jalen Ramsey, the Jaguars star cornerback. He did join the team Friday after the birth of his second daughter, but he has that back injury that he complained about to the team. He's actually undergoing treatment as we speak. He'll undergo treatment all day long until game time. And actually up until that 90-minute window.
Yes, and there have been a lot of people predicting that it would be a challenge for him to play for Jacksonville again. A lot of people think that back will prevent him from playing again today for Jacksonville. And if he doesn't play, I think that will trigger a new round of speculation about his future in Jacksonville. As for Melvin Gordon, he's going to be the emergency running back for the Chargers today. They will use Austin Eckler. They will use Tremaine Pope. They will only use Melvin Gordon if they really need him, but maybe even in a red zone spot. But in this particular situation, he will be active, but I would not look to see very much of him today, Sam.
All right, thanks, guys. So
Sam, they said they were going to use the Pope at running back. That's how bad it is. They're beat to heck. I mean, Melvin Gordon's going to play. He got to, doesn't he?
I mean, what would you do with him in terms of touches and the amount you use a guy that's
Sam, they don't have anybody healthy. I'm giving the ball 30 times. He's been out for how long now?
Yeah, but you don't want to risk losing this guy,
but man,
especially
the
down in
Chargers need to
Miami.
win.
I think this is a trap game for the Chargers. They're that West Coast team playing that 10 a.m. game. They're talking about resting their best running back.
I tell you, a lot happens in the course of a game. In that perfect situation where now he's just the emergency back, only if we need him, you get in that game and it gets a little tight. And you saw him in warm-ups, like, man, he looked good. It's like, and then he's right there. Get him in. Get him in. There's a lot of motions during the game, and they want to see their best player.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that he is their best player. When you look at the numbers, he's the only player in the NFL with at least 12 touchdowns each of the last 3 seasons. So if he's healthy enough to go, why not use him, I say. All right, let's get to our opening kicks, starting with Randy. What do you have your eye on today?
Man, let's go into Baltimore, where the Browns are coming into town. What am I focusing on? It has to be the protection between both quarterbacks. Yes, we're talking about Baker Mayfield, and yes, I'm talking about Lamar Jackson. Who is going to be kept clean today? Both quarterbacks like to get out of the pocket. There has been some big concerns in Cleveland about keeping Baker Mayfield clean. To me, my focus is up front, in the trenches. Whoever wins up front today has a great chance of going up in this AFC North. Big game today.
Oh, Randy, they got to keep themselves clean. That might be part of the problem there with those quarterbacks. I love this. Tom Brady's coming into town right here. Biggest game since 1964. But normally when he comes in, it's all about offense. Not anymore. This defense, Teddy, this reminds me of the days when you were playing with this New England defense. They haven't given up a touchdown all year. It's been, how about this as a start? 8 straight games. They haven't given up a touchdown in the first half. And that includes against the Chiefs. But this Buffalo defense is pretty impressive in its own right. I think it's going to be a low-scoring slugfest.
Rex, you said the biggest game since 64. The Patriots just call that Sunday. It's the next one. But I'm talking about Dak in New Orleans. Listen, we're talking about Dak Prescott because he's playing better quarterback than anybody in the league right now. why? Where has he really improved? In the red zone. Last year he struggled. The team struggled. This year 11 for 13 and 5 touchdowns when getting in the red zones. If he plays like this, they can beat anybody, including New Orleans in New Orleans.
Yeah,
Kellen Moore.
Them Cowboys are going to grind that run game. Yes, they are. But I'm going to the Chiefs, where there's no grinding in this offense because they're going in the perfect conditions, okay? They don't got to worry about grass. They don't worry about any slippage. You got the carpet. You got the perfect conditions, the air conditioning. There's no wind. Detroit, I know you've done well. You've had a great start to it. But for 4 quarters, how are they going to contain this explosive offense? I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah, huge test for them there today. All right, another test is in Baltimore, where the Browns are 1-10 in their last 11 in Baltimore. But that guy right there might be playing with a little extra edge today. More on that later in the show.
Wake up, wake up.
This is Sunday.
This is Sunday NFL Countdown.
Coming.
And after that, our Week 4 Monday Night Football matchup is an AFC North battle between those Bengals and the Steelers at Heinz Field. Our coverage begins with Countdown at 6, with the game to follow at 8 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. At NRG Stadium today, if last week's performances were any indication, this one's going to be fun to watch. The Texans only do close games this year, apparently, and both teams are coming off impressive games at quarterback and on defense. Deshaun Watson sure happy to see that J.J. Watt was finally back on the sack board this last week with 2. Now, in case you missed it, Deshaun's already off to a strong start, has more games with at least 3 touchdown passes than he did all of last season. His total QBR of 74 is the 5th highest in the NFL. As for the Panthers, Kyle Allen starts his 2nd straight game while Cam Newton deals with that foot injury. Allen had 4 touchdown passes to lead Carolina to a win last week. Here was Cam Newton on his injury.
This is where I got in my own way, because automatically I thought, I got to play week 1. I can't let my fans down. You know, I want to be there for my team. And I was hiding the injury that I could have easily said, you know what, coach, I don't think I'm ready. Maybe, you know, I need to kind of consider sitting this one out. That number 1 that's out there that hasn't been that same person. I guess that's what this league kind of does. It humbles you. Cam ain't the player that he used to be. So my answer to that is just wait.
Well, I certainly appreciate the introspection. I mean, to hear from a player honestly about an injury, especially during a season, is not something we normally get. But Matt, do you think he's right that he got in his own way?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's hard to understand what's in. I can't read his mind at all. But I will say this. I think that the Panthers are probably better off with a very healthy Kyle Allen. 100% Kyle Allen is better than the injured version of Cam Newton. I go back to 1999. I was Brett Favre's backup. He had a broken right thumb. We were losing some games. Brett Favre wasn't playing like Brett Favre. And not to say I'm the talent that Brett Favre was, or that Kyle Allen is the talent that Cam Newton is, but I can remember driving home from games that we would lose, saying to myself, if I had started today, if I had played at 100%, we would have won that game.
Ooh, 2-2. I've been waiting for 3 years to get to that.
And again, it's not that I feel like I'm as talented as Brett or that Kyle Allen is talented as Cam, but he is working this Norv Turner offense the way it's supposed to be worked. And so it's clear to me that Cam Newton wasn't playing good football, and it's because of the injury. And Kyle Allen looks like a seasoned vet. He's been in this offense. Again, he's not muscling through. You know, he's not doing it all by himself. He's letting Norv Turner, one of the great offensive coordinators in our game. There's our X-Dagger, wide shallow cross, clear it out, a guy coming across the middle. He's letting the offense work, and I think for that reason, the Carolina Panthers are playing better offense, and they got a better chance to win.
And the only thing is, though, I mean, look, Kyle Allen, I was excited about him because, man, he showed poise, he did all that. But Cam Newton is like a once-in-a-lifetime type talent.
When he has all of his tools available.
No, exactly.
Right.
And it's all about health. I mean, we all know that. But as much as, you know, I appreciate this Allen, they need Cam Newton, in my opinion, to get in the playoffs. Guys, he was 15-1. We forget about that a couple of years ago as the MVP.
That's in the past, Rex.
But if this man's healthy, Randy, if this man's healthy, he gives you by far and away the best chance to win.
And I think it's a little bit of, I don't want to say immaturity, but knowing that, it's a long NFL season, him to try and push himself back for a September game. We need you on the field 100%, Cam, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, in November, in December, meaningful games when the playoffs on the line, when the division is on the line. Right now, if Kyle Allen can do what he's doing and he's playing well, I want him in there because as a defender, I would rather give me Cam in there beat up. One-dimensional, because what makes him so special, you're right, Rex, when I got to worry about so many things defensively, and if I got a Cam that isn't the strongest pure drop-back passer, but that's what he's trying to do, give it to me. Give it to me, because I know we can defend against that all day.
Well, y'all talking about the two quarterbacks, and I live in that city, and I know the city is in an uproar because of the performance that Kyle Allen put up last week, something that Cam Newton hasn't been able to do in a few games. Now, granted, he has to get back healthy, like you just stated. But when he comes back healthy, there's one thing that the Carolina Panther fans in that city wants to see. They want to see accurate passing. Last week, 4 touchdowns, 2 to Olsen and 2 to the wide receivers. We're not used to seeing it out of Carolina. We're used to seeing the keep pounding and play hard-nosed defense. So when he does come back, when healthy, Cam Newton has to come back and deliver that ball to his playmakers.
And you say when he comes back healthy. Listen, if Kyle Allen plays the way that he's played, and he does that for 3 or 4 more games, Kyle Allen is essentially free. He is on a minimum deal. Cam Newton makes $19 million a year. There was once upon a time, when we thought, well, Dak Prescott could never replace Tony Romo. When the economics get involved, Kyle Allen is essentially free. And I'm just telling you, that's going to be tempting for a team if he plays the way that he's been playing.
But let's be honest, it's still a huge unknown. Because if you look at who he was up against last week, right. Yes, he had 4 touchdowns. He played very well. That Cardinals secondary is pretty brutal right now. And his defense helped him out having 8 sacks. Today against the Texans, that's more
exactly
of an unknown.
I'm saying. It's exactly what I'm saying. So if he does it today, if he goes out and beats Deshaun Watson, if he plays lights out against Houston, who's got a great defense, then I think the narrative starts to change a little more.
And you're right. How different is this than Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson last year?
Exactly.
Kind of similar, where you mentioned the economics of it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That happened.
And that's the new thing in the NFL right now. People feel like if I can get a quarterback on a rookie deal, I can spend my money elsewhere and I can make a run at the Super Bowl.
You talk about unknown. The more that this kid can buy time for Cam Newton, the better, because even when Cam comes back 100, say it's in a couple weeks, every single game, that 100, it's going to be 95 the next one, then 90, then 80, and he's going to continue to get beat up because he knows only how to play one way, and that's physical.
Yep. Well, let's get more on Cam's situation. I know you've got an update on Cam's injury.
Well, what I did was I spoke to Ron Rivera, the Carolina Panthers coach, late yesterday, and the video seemed to be a point of controversy. It was an independent video made by Cam Newton. He said that it didn't bother him all, that he appreciated it, that it was Cam doing Cam's thing his own way, but he thought he was honest and transparent and said, as a team, they haven't hidden anything. This is a mid-foot sprain. Ron Rivera refuses to call it Liz Frank at this point, but he's day-to-day as far as they're concerned. This is more like weeks in this respect. Speaking of another quarterback who has been out, Sam Darnold with mononucleosis, even though they had a bye week, the expectation has been that he's going to play in week 5. Well, I just got verified from Sam via text that he has not been cleared to even run yet. He hopes that comes Monday when they do more tests on his spleen to see if it has reduced in size. And if they do, he'll start running, he'll start practicing, and then he'll take a shot at playing in week 5. But he's been doing nothing but walking and working on a stationary bike to this point.
All right, more coming up on Sunday NFL Countdown. It's a big deal for Dak Prescott, but that's returning to New Orleans, not getting the big deal he wants. Plus, we'll bring you the latest on Antonio Brown's record-setting season coming up on Sunday NFL Countdown.